Revenge films.
My name is Mubio. I'm currently living happy with my wife and kid. One day, I got a call while I was working. Hello? This is the police. Are you Tsukami's husband? What? The police? Tsukami has been arrested for possessing illegal drugs. What? My mind went completely blank. I immediately ran to my house and saw that my wife wasn't home. What's going on? Drugs? My wife would never do such things. I couldn't believe it. But the call was from the police. I couldn't find her anywhere. My mind went completely blank just waiting to know what happened. In the afternoon, the police came into the house to search for any evidence. Sorry for coming in unannounced. Is it fine if we let the police dog in? Sure. After searching for a while, they found nothing in the house. Your wife has been accused of using illegal stimulants. We still need to do some additional checkups, but we're almost certain. She was using stimulants? We got an anonymous tip about her, which is why we started to investigate her. And today, we finally caught her red-handed using the substance and arrested her. That is why we wanted to do a house search. Thank you for your cooperation. The police left the house afterward. Why did this happen? We were just an ordinary family. And to have that big bomb dropped on me, it was too much for me. I immediately called my in-laws to tell them what happened. I had to tell them. Hello? Your daughter was found using illegal drugs, and she was arrested. They were at a loss for words. I could hear my mother-in-law crying on the phone. After hearing their grief, I felt choked up by all the emotions. The next day, my in-laws visited me to apologize for the actions of their daughter. We are so sorry. We don't know the full details yet, but I think you should divorce her. It was her fault for taking drugs. You need to get full custody of your daughter. It's the least we can do for you. Please, you don't have to do this for her. It's not your fault at all. If what the police said was true, I was ready to divorce and leave her. That's why I wanted to believe that this was some kind of misunderstanding. The day after I met up with a lawyer. How are you managing your finances? My wife has around 3 million yen she could use for herself. She seemed like she was using it all on living expenses. There were no signs of money being taken out of my bank either. That means she was earning her own money and spending it. I didn't want to believe that my wife was selling her body to earn money. Needless to say, if you really want to be with your wife after she gets out of jail, you need to know that she could be a repeat offender. That's why I'm suggesting getting a divorce before your wife's behavior starts to affect your daughter. The lawyer was very well spoken. He explained everything clearly so that I was able to come to a decision. However, my daughter and I really loved her. It was an awful time to be like this. That evening, I got a call from the police, and I was able to get the full picture. We're currently investigating your wife. We found out that it was likely that she got the money from FX in order to supply her drug addiction. Just to be sure, could you please tell me everything about your bank and finances? What? Foreign exchange? I couldn't believe it! My bank account had no signs of tampering. However, I remembered that before marrying me, she was working at a bank with an economics degree. How did she even get the money to start it in the first place? Maybe she had something hidden in the house. So I started searching. I was finally able to find it. A passbook with around 12 million yen hidden under the sink. The police weren't lying. I told the police what I found. People around the neighborhood all knew what was going on and started to give me the side eyes. I got a long vacation from work and let my daughter stay with my in-laws in a hotel. My lawyer was able to get a hold of my wife in the jail. How was she?
She said she felt awful and wanted to apologize to your family. As for the drugs, she was apparently using them through a process that didn't require body alterations. This isn't something a seasoned drug addict would use, which means she's going to get a lighter sentence than those who use it through needles or smoking.
I see.
Also, there's someone else that told her about the FX and the drugs.
What?
This isn't confirmed yet, but apparently it was from someone who knew her well.
I was happy to know that my wife wasn't entirely at fault. There was someone else that was pulling the strings. After careful investigation by the police, they found out about everything. The culprit was one of her college friends. She was introduced to the drugs as diet pills. After taking them, she found out she became more energetic and less hungry. Before realizing what she was taking, it was too late. It's the same with FX. With the previous knowledge of economy, her friend sought to capitalize on it. That way, both parties earned enough money to supply their drug addiction. I was furious at her friend. My wife had been taken advantage of. I don't know how much the drugs cost. All I knew was that it required a ton of disposable income to buy. I can't imagine how much money was being spent on supplying the drugs daily. My wife's friend banked on my wife's talents in order to earn money for herself. And to have a constant supply of income, she forced my wife to be addicted to the drugs, so she became dependent on them. I've heard stories about how addictive these drugs are. In a world where even quitting smoking is a challenge, it was almost impossible to get out of drug addiction without outside help. My wife even told the police she tried to get out of the addiction herself. But whenever she tried to do so, her friend told her,
"You sure about that? If you try to do that, I'm going to tell your whole family about what you've been doing. I have the power to destroy your whole life."
My wife was blackmailed into taking the drugs. The police told me that they felt really bad for her and how she was forced to be in the position. She tried her best to get out of it herself, but there was someone that stopped her from doing so. Not to mention that she had to deal with the addiction her whole life. Even after they found her friend, she said,
"If she stopped taking drugs, who is going to earn money for me?"
In the end, my wife's charges were slightly lessened after hearing the whole story. On the other hand, her friend had to face multiple charges for her involvement with the case. After the incident, my wife begged me to divorce her while crying.
"I don't want to ruin you or our daughter's life for my problem. I'm so sorry."
I felt very bad for her, and I knew exactly what I needed to do. 5 years later, I was still with my wife. We decided not to get a divorce. The lawyer told me it was going to be a rocky path. But after hearing the full story, I knew what I had to do. That's why I decided to have faith in my wife, and decided to move out of the city to restart our life. With the help of a doctor, my wife was able to cleanse herself of the addiction. 5 years ago, I told my wife, "I heard everything from the police. I know you tried your best to get out of it. That's why I'm deciding to put my faith in you. It's going to be hard to fight the drug addiction, but I'll be here for you. I can't leave you without even trying to fix the problem." The whole family started crying after I told them I was ready to put my faith in my wife. Now, I live in the quiet countryside with my wife and daughter. My wife now works online, and we are living happily. I'm back!
Hey, Daddy's back!
This story happened at a member-only big box retail store. You need to have a membership with them to shop at this store. If you're not a member, you either need to join the membership before shopping or go with someone with a membership. Because I like to buy in bulk once a month, I'm always looking forward to my monthly shopping trip. It's like a stress relief for me, so I very much enjoy going to this store. What should I get this time? Oh, I want a large cake. Oh, I need to get some meat too. Maybe some bread as well. I normally drive a small-sized hatchback to save on gas, but I need bigger storage space to fit all the groceries I buy. So I switched cars with my brother and got ready for my shopping trip. There's always a lineup to enter the store, but I don't mind waiting because I can think about what to buy while standing in line. To prevent non-members from entering, the store staff would check everyone's membership card at the entrance. I always find it funny that a retail store would impose such strict rules. It's like entering a club or a bar, but instead of showing a government ID, you must show them your membership card. But I guess it's good that they try to stop customers who don't have a membership at the entrance. It'd be a hassle for everyone if non-members went in and shopped, and then realized that they need a membership at the checkout. Checkout staff would have to explain the membership rules and benefits to the customer. The checkout counters are already very busy. The line will only get longer if the staff needs to take the time to help someone become a member. Despite the long wait, I really enjoy shopping there for better priced quality products. However, I witnessed an unpleasant event while waiting in line at the entrance. An elderly lady, who clearly didn't know it was a member-only store, tried to go in like a regular supermarket. I've seen other people who are unaware of the membership rules trying to enter the store. When that happens, the staff usually says, "Sorry, this is a members-only store." Then they'll briefly introduce their membership and bring the customer to the service counter. I thought the staff would do the same thing this time, but the female employee on duty was different. She looked very unfriendly and gave the elderly lady a hard time. When the elderly lady was about to go in, that female employee said, "Excuse me? Why are you walking in without showing your membership to me?" The elderly lady was shocked and confused by her question. The employee continued, "Do you know what kind of store this is?" She talked in a condescending tone to the elderly lady. The elderly lady looked like she was about to cry. Because of the membership check, everyone was waiting in line at the entrance of the store. The elderly lady looked back in surprise to see how long the lineup was. So she apologized to the person waiting behind her for holding up the line. But she was still confused about why the female employee was being so aggressive to her. I also couldn't believe my ears when I heard what the employee said to the elderly lady. Although it's a big member-only store, not everyone knows about the rules. It's not like they put up a big sign with large letters explaining the entrance rules. In fact, this store is from the city, and they have just opened a new store in my rural hometown. All the supermarkets in town didn't require a membership to go in until this big box retail store came along. The elderly lady probably never thought someone would check people's memberships at a store entrance. It's understandable for her to get confused about the new rules of a new store. I got angry at the female employee who mistreated the elderly lady and didn't even bother to explain anything. So I intervened and said to the employee, "Hey, you don't have to be so mean. Can't you see you're making her very uncomfortable? Why do you have to give her such a hard time?" "I'm just doing my job, all right? I have to follow the store policy." I understand that, but could you not be so harsh towards her? You can explain the membership policy to her and ask if she wants to join, right? Why can't you talk nicely instead of giving her attitude? "Like I said, I'm just following the store policy." We need to show our membership cards. Yes, I'm fully aware of your store policy. What I'm trying to say is, you could explain everything with a little more patience. "Seriously, what's your problem? Don't shop here if you don't like the rules." "Well, I guess bumpkins wouldn't know how to shop at our store. There's nothing but mountains and crop fields in this town after all." She then snickered at us. Who the hell does she think she is? She's insulting the locals now after giving the elderly lady attitude. Is it because she was sent from one of the stores in the city? I was extremely irritated when she suggested that the big box retailers were too good for my hometown. I couldn't bear her anymore. "Who do you think you are?" I yelled. A man behind me started yelling at her as well.
"Hey, you! What's with that attitude?"
The man was wearing a neat suit. I didn't think people like him would also shop here. The female employee seemed to be offended and looked angry. She replied, "I was just telling this old hag, this elderly lady, that she can't enter without a membership card. Our store policy requires that everyone who enters has a membership with us." The man behind me suddenly snapped.
"Bullshit! Do you think you have the right to treat a customer like that? I need to speak with your supervisor."
The female employee was shocked by the man's outburst. "Who are you? Our store has its own rules, okay? What's wrong with me warning her when she doesn't follow the rules? All of you should be grateful that you get to shop at a store like this." She responded, very annoyed. People inside the store must have heard the man's yelling. A man with a name tag that said store manager rushed to the entrance to see what was happening. His face became pale as soon as he saw the man in the suit. He stuttered,
Hello! I didn't know you were coming. What brings you to our store today?
The store manager looked very nervous. From how the store manager greeted the man, I guess the man in the suit had a higher position than the manager. Maybe he's from the head office or even the company's president. The man said to the store manager,
I came here to see how the new store is doing. What the hell is going on here? Is this how you train your employees? The entrance staff should welcome our members and non-members equally and introduce our membership to new customers. They should never treat new customers like they've done something wrong. It's absolutely unacceptable for employees to look down on customers.
The store manager looked very shocked. He glanced at the female employee and said,
You're absolutely right, sir. I'm very sorry about what happened. I'll give her a warning.
Then the man in the suit walked up to the elderly lady and said,
I'm very sorry, but our store is member only. I can introduce our membership to you if you don't mind coming with me to the service counter. I'll also give you a day pass for your visit today. So please take your time to shop in our store.
Thank you. The elderly lady looked relieved after the man in the suit nicely explained the situation to her. She then followed him to sign up for the membership. Finally, it was my turn to enter the store. I showed my membership card to a different employee. Thank you for waiting. Please enjoy your shopping. And I walked into the store. The female employee who had a bad attitude was taken to the office by the store manager. Later, I met the elderly lady again inside the store. She looked surprised to see such amazing deals on quality products. I filled my shopping cart with a large cake, various types of meats, pizza, and bakeries. I also got some ready-made food and other daily necessities and left the store feeling great. The man in the suit surprised me when he yelled, but I was very impressed with how he handled the situation later. A month later, it was time for my monthly shopping trip to this member-only store again. I waited in line as usual and looked for that mean female employee after I entered the store, but I didn't see her there. Later, I heard about what happened from a friend who works at the store. Apparently, that employee was fired immediately after the incident. She worked at one of the stores in the city and was sent to my hometown to help with a newly opened store. According to my friend, that employee also looked down on other staff from my hometown. I still understand how she could act so arrogantly and treat customers with such a terrible attitude. She should never be working in a store like this, and I think she eventually got what she deserved.
Tsukami, you look beautiful.
We're finally going to get married.
Let's be happy together.
Yeah. I have an older sister. She used to take care of me after my parents died in an unfortunate accident. That's why I was excited for her to see me get married. She was like a mother to me. My sister hasn't come in yet. I wonder if she's okay.
It's okay. I bet she'll be here by the ceremony.
You're right. I took my husband's hand and went to the chapel where the ceremony was going to be held. But as soon as we got there, we were surprised by what was happening. There was no one in the hall. No friends, no family, no one. What's going on? Why did no one show up? I began to panic. Hey, Tsukami! I heard a familiar voice from the distance. It was my sister. Sorry, the bus came in late. What? According to her, the bus people were using to come to the venue was running late. But it's almost time for the ceremony. Apparently, they got the schedule mixed up. All three of us were at a loss for words. Luckily, the wedding planner showed up. Everyone is coming late for the ceremony. What is going on? Oh, yeah, the bus is coming in late. Why are you so casual about this? This was supposed to be my special day! Originally, we were going to hire our friend to be our wedding planner. But this lady came in at the last second and took her spot. Please, I want to do it! It was my dream to plan the best wedding in the whole world. I guarantee you that this wedding ceremony will be the best one. According to my friend, she was still new to the business and had never planned a wedding. But her enthusiasm, coupled with the scheduling conflict with my friend, I didn't realize that decision was going to cost me. Weren't you responsible for everything for this wedding? Why didn't you just order the bus to come in earlier? Yeah, and why are you smiling? 'Cause it's not my fault the bus is running late. Getting mad at me won't change anything. Also, your faces looked so pathetic that I couldn't hold my laughter. How dare you? So you didn't order the bus? Ipsies, I forgot it until the last day, so it should have been fine. But they told me that they only had rookie drivers left, so, too bad. This is all your fault! Stop blaming others! Why did I ever pick you? You're useless! That's so mean. Shouting at me won't save your problems. It was all this planner's fault, but she acted like it wasn't. In fact, she didn't even show a single sign of remorse the whole day. They won't be coming in anytime soon, so let's check out the reception. How are we supposed to go to the reception without even having a ceremony? OMG, just shut up. It's just a wedding. Everyone says it's the best day of their lives, but they usually just get a divorce. And to be honest, this sort of wedding would be more memorable than your stupid standard stuff. I guess I was a genius after all. Are you stupid? What is she saying? I was, once again, lost for words. She was too incompetent. Hey, don't sit down. You're going to ruin the dress. I don't want to be responsible for cleaning up the clothing. But if it comes down to it, I will need you to pay for the cleaning cost. What? How dare you talk to my sister like that? How are you going to fix this? You're making this whole wedding a disaster. I realized why my sister didn't come to the waiting room. She had to fix things within the ceremony due to the planner ruining everything. I didn't mind fixing the ceremony, but even with my support, you're ruining everything. That was when the bus arrived with all the attendants. Although the bus was late, I was glad they were finally able to arrive. They're here. Why was I being yelled at when they came in on time? I saw my sister's face turning red from all the frustration. My husband and I wanted to scold the planner, but we still had a ceremony to finish. After calming down a bit, we were able to go with the ceremony without any more trouble. My sister told the wedding planning company about the situation, which allowed us to have some additional compensation for the evening. Thanks to that, my husband and I were very satisfied with the wedding by the end of the day. I really wanted to reprimand the wedding planner as soon as I could, but the other staff members were very lovely and helped us as much as they could. By the end, it was really a magical day, so I was ready to let it all go. It wasn't until a few days later when someone mysteriously arrived at my doorstep. My friend, the wedding planner, and their boss came into the house to apologize for the wedding. We are so sorry for the wedding. It was my fault for letting this new recruit handle your wedding. Although the wedding planner responsible for our wedding acted like it wasn't her fault, my friend made sure she apologized to us. Wait, I did mess up the bus, but that was it. Everything else was fine. You even said it was a great wedding. Why do I have to apologize? I don't get it. My friend became furious. Everything was fine? You forgot to hire a caterer and the flowers. Who do you think did all that? I had to come in and do everything for you because you were useless. The only reason it ended up a great wedding was that everyone else covered up for you. You almost made my friend's wedding day a disaster. Apologizing won't even start to cover up for all the messes you made. I was surprised by my friend's sudden burst of anger, that even her boss was speechless. Even that useless planner was too scared to talk back. Go ahead, apologize to them! Sorry. Louder! Oh, you're hurting me! Sorry! Although it was kind of forced, we were happy to hear the planner apologize to us. The good news was that we were compensated heavily as an apology by the company. We didn't have to pay a single dime for the service, and the best photography album to commemorate the day. As for the wedding planner, she was fired for her attitude and lack of work ethic. She still had a certificate to become a planner, but she was blacklisted out of all the other wedding companies due to the incident. She eventually gave up on becoming a wedding planner and became an office worker. How do I know? Well, she was hired into the same company I work at. She worked at a different division of the company, so I did my best to not interact with her. She didn't seem to learn from her previous mistake and continued to blow off work, not apologize for her mistake, and lost many clients in the process. Needless to say, she was also fired from my company only after a few months in. A few months later, I actually saw her working at a convenience store. She looked like a totally different person, as if her soul left her body.
Hi, my name is Hayden. Today, I'm going to tell a story from 10 years ago. I used to have a colleague named Lillian at work. Lillian was a beautiful girl who always dressed in style. However,
Hayden, you always dress up so girly. We're like the complete opposite.
what do you mean?
Do you spend a lot of time doing makeup every day? How long does it normally take?
Makeup? I don't wear much makeup, really. Getting up is torture for me. I always sleep till the last minute, so I don't have much time for makeup.
Wow, really? There must be someone like you in the company, right? Is it Tom from the sales department? But I think he's out of your league, though. I'm sure he likes girls with good style. Even though you put on makeup, have a girly look and everything, your style is not that great.
As you can probably tell, Lillian was a self-centered person with an unpleasant personality. She also slacked off a lot at work and was always late. Almost everyone in our department disliked her. Later, Lillian got pregnant with a child of the man she was dating. So she suddenly decided to get married and handed in her resignation letter. Her child's father was Tom, the guy from sales that Lillian was talking about. Oh, that's why she asked me if I liked Tom. Turns out she was going after him herself. Our department and Tom's department had little collaboration, and I also didn't really get along with Lillian, so I had no intention of attending their wedding. But since my boss said he was going, everyone in our department felt like we had to go as well, so we all ended up attending the wedding. On the wedding day, apart from Lillian's parents and colleagues from work, Lillian's only guest from her school years was a woman named Shannon. Shannon was a reserved and quiet person, which was in sharp contrast with Lillian.
I'm surprised that Lillian has a friend from school.
And she's completely different from Lillian.
And she's probably different from Lillian.
It was surprising for us to see that Lillian had a friend.
I heard she's the one who will give the maid of honor speech.
It was even more surprising when we found out Lillian's only friend was going to give the speech. If she's going to give the maid of honor speech, that must mean she and Lillian are very close friends, right? But no matter how you look at them, they don't look like they'd get along very well because they're different as night and day. I wonder what she'll say about Lillian in her speech. I'm starting to look forward to it. The wedding proceeded smoothly. But because all my colleagues didn't want to go to Lillian's wedding in the first place, everyone started to get bored. After the best man speech, it was finally time for the maid of honor speech.
Now, please welcome Shannon, Lillian's best friend from school, to give us the maid of honor speech.
After the MC's introduction, Lillian's only friend, Shannon, went onto the stage. Shannon looked very dull and plain, especially compared to Lillian. Even though she was giving the maid of honor speech, she was giving off a gloomy vibe that didn't quite match the liveliness of the wedding. She doesn't look happy at all.
She's probably just nervous.
Maybe she's deeply moved by her best friend's wedding. Then Shannon started her speech amidst a sparse applause. Nobody knew that the wedding would take a bad turn from there. I met Lillian the first year of high school, and I've been looking forward to this day since then. I had a dull, boring personality throughout elementary and middle school. Back then, I didn't have any friends and was constantly getting bullied. It was not easy for me to make friends, so I was mostly by myself even after high school. But one day, Lillian approached me. Isn't this surprising? I never thought Lillian would have such a side to her. It was not just me. All my colleagues were surprised too.
Wow, Lillian's surprisingly nice.
I wonder why your personality has changed so much since then. While everyone was talking about how unexpected it was, suddenly,
And I've been living as Lillian's slave since then.
Shannon dropped a bombshell. Wow, what did she say?
Wow, what kind of real-life drama is this?
All the guests started murmuring, but what came next in Shannon's speech was even more shocking.
I lost my virginity during the winter break in my first year of high school. Lillian wanted to buy a present for her boyfriend before Christmas. So she brought a stranger to me and forced me to do it with him. Then she took all the money that stranger paid me. After that, Lillian started to blackmail me with the photos she secretly took. She started threatening me, saying she would send the pictures to my parents and tell them their daughter's making money doing that. I was so scared and worried that Lillian would spread those pictures. I couldn't fight back, and I also couldn't escape. In the end, our money-making slave type of relationship continued until I was in college.
There was a deadly silence in the hall. All the guests were sitting there quietly. Even the colleagues who just laughed at Lillian became silent. I looked at Lillian, who was sitting at the sweetheart table with Tom. Her face turned super pale, and she was obviously speechless. A man sitting next to the stage tried to stop Shannon from continuing the speech, but Shannon was very determined to finish her speech. She continued to expose how Lillian stole her boyfriend and forced her to work at a nightclub to make more money. Lillian started yelling.
It's not true! This woman is lying! She was bullied and had no friends because she's always been a liar! Have you forgotten what I did for you? I made friends with you despite how dark and gloomy you were, you ungrateful bitch!
But Shannon ignored her completely and played the recordings from her phone. It was a conversation between Lillian and her before the wedding.
I got pregnant by one of my bosses at work, but he's a married man with children. Oh, I told you about him before, Mr. Robinson, the one who always liked me. What? Am I gonna have the baby? Of course I am. Married men are a pain in the ass to deal with, especially when their wives find out about their affairs. So I'm marrying Tom instead and pretending the baby I'm having is his. He makes much more than me, so it's all good. Tom was reluctant about getting married in the beginning, but he agreed right away when I told him I'm pregnant.
The recorded conversation was about Lillian's pregnancy. The father of Lillian's baby turns out to be her former boss in another department. Because she was dating her former boss and Tom simultaneously, she dumped the former boss after getting pregnant and married Tom. Her former boss, Mr. Robinson, was at the wedding with his wife. His wife got furious at him after hearing Shannon's recordings.
Oh my God! What the hell did you do?
Tom, the groom, didn't look so well after finding out about the truth. Lillian went crazy beside him and kept screaming. Her parents were also in utter shock. The event staff rushed to the stage and tried to get Shannon out of the wedding hall.
Wait, I'm not done yet!
She seemed to have a lot more to say, but she never returned to the wedding after being escorted out. It didn't feel like a wedding anymore. While Tom was still in a daze, his parents went up to Lillian and said,
How dare you lie to us! We're calling off the wedding!
You and Tom are not getting married!
And you're covering all the wedding fees! Get ready to pay us compensation too!
The wedding turned into a disaster and total chaos. Because the wedding was canceled midway, all the wedding gifts from the guests were returned to us before we left. Later, everything Shannon said at the wedding was proven true, and Lillian and Tom didn't get married. Lillian's former boss, Mr. Robinson, also got a divorce. Beside that, people around him started to look at him coldly. His boss worried that his presence would create a negative impact on the work atmosphere. So Mr. Robinson was demoted to doing unimportant work in a remote location. Tom, the poor groom, was mortified at the wedding. He never showed up at work again and resigned shortly after. Because of the scale and number of people involved in the story, it's become a company legend. And people are still talking about it 10 years later.
Last year, my sister got a divorce. Her ex-husband suddenly called me.
Your sister isn't answering any of her calls. I'm so worried about her. Is she fine?
What the hell is he saying? The reason my sister got a divorce is because of this ex-husband.
I can just use my wife as a shield against my scary mother.
The two didn't have children together. Even though the two were trying, my sister couldn't get pregnant. When they visited the doctor, they found out that it was her. It wasn't impossible per se, but rather very hard to. That was when his mother started asking him, "When can I get to see my grandkids?" That's when my sister's ex said,
The doctor told us it was her fault we can't have kids.
After hearing the lies, his mother became furious at my sister. "It's your fault I can't have grandkids. You're so useless. You're a disgrace to all women. Why were you even born?" Meanwhile, my sister's ex-husband would cry to her.
Please don't tell my mom it's my fault. You're my only hope, Tsukami. We still have a chance. Until then, take the heat from me. Once we have a baby, we can tell my mom the truth.
My sister was too nice to say anything back. She decided to take the heat for him. If I was her, I would have divorced him the second he threw me under the bus. At the time, I couldn't really say anything as I didn't want to stick my nose in other people's business. I was fine as long as my sister was okay. But the abuse didn't go away. Her ex would always blame her for everything. Although he graduated from college, he couldn't find a job with decent pay. This was covered by the fact that my sister was also working, which paid for the living expenses. But during family events, the two would have to go to meet their mother. The ex-husband didn't want to go to this family event because of his work status.
Tsukami said she didn't want to meet everyone, so I can't go. Sorry.
He was using my sister as an excuse to skip these family gatherings. Even when she tells her mother-in-law that it wasn't true, the in-laws would not believe her. This made the abuse from the mother-in-law harsher. She eventually collapsed from depression caused by all the abuse she had to endure. "Sis, please get a divorce. He's not worth your time. He keeps on using you as a shield." After my advice, she finally mustered the courage to divorce him. "I can't take it anymore. We need to get a divorce."
No! If you divorce me, I'm going to die! You're going to leave me all by myself?
He did everything to stop them from getting a divorce. To make things worse, her mother-in-law told her, "The reason you're getting depressed is that you're weak. I'm going to make you stronger." Her ex-husband was too much of a coward to talk back to their mother, so my sister was left alone to fend for herself. I bet the only reason her ex-husband denied the divorce was so he could protect himself from his mother. My parents and I all worked together to intervene and successfully saved my sister from further pain. We even made the ex-husband sign the divorce papers. My sister was finally able to relax in her home. I was too patient with him. It came to the point where I stopped thinking about anything. Needless to say, her ex-husband was panicking. He would say things such as, "She was mine." Thankfully, my brother and my cousin were around the house to fend off the ex-husband if he ever came close to my sister. My sister went to seek medical attention and even got evidence of abuse from the lawyer. When the mother found out that my sister was seeking payment for damages, she said, "Why would I ever pay for damages when she was the useless one who couldn't even have kids? Get out of my face!"
It's not Tsukami's fault that she can't get pregnant. It's your son's fault.
What? You've got to be kidding me!
It's the truth.
Her ex was denying all allegations, but the lawyer had evidence of everything. With the help of the lawyer, my sister was able to earn a ton of money from the divorce settlement. After the divorce, my sister told me she wanted to forget what happened. That's why she decided to change her phone number and gave her old phone to my parents. That's why she didn't respond to any of his calls and messages. And that is why he decided to contact me. After going to a therapist, my sister was able to live happily by herself. I didn't want her peace to be interrupted by him, so I told him she doesn't have to talk to him anymore.
She's still Tsukami, right? Then she'll eventually come back to me. I know it!
What a disgrace. disgusting pile of garbage. How can he be so entitled? Don't you understand? She doesn't like you anymore. You do understand you two got a divorce, right?
I would understand her not responding to me if she was dead, but there's no way she can ignore me.
In a sense, my sister that was with him did die the day they got divorced. Now, she's happily living a new life. She's a new person now. She doesn't want you in her life.
What do I do?
Are you serious? You don't even know? Maybe if you actually helped her, instead of using her as a shield against your mother, she wouldn't have ran away.
But Tsukami was a good scapegoat.
And because of that, she became depressed. She told me she doesn't want to see you anymore and never ever talk to me, you disgusting pile of garbage. He stopped contacting me. So I thought that was the end of it. Half a year has passed, and my sister started dating the therapist she was attending. Unlike her previous suitor, this one supports her in every way. She was still skeptical about marrying someone after the previous one. But they are perfect for each other. Her current boyfriend is very liked by the other members of my family, becoming very happy every time he visits us. Unfortunately, her ex also saw them entering the house and barged into the house.
Open up! Who is that guy?
My parents immediately called the police. The police came in within 5 minutes of placing the call and arrested the ex. Apparently, he continued to search for my sister, hiding around my house to see if she comes back. That was when he found my sister entering the house with another man. He was later arrested for stalking my sister and my family. This news also made it to his mother, making her lose her mind. It also eventually made it to others around the neighborhood, making his mother more cautious of her surroundings. I was worried this was going to make my sister go into a downward spiral, but thankfully, with the help of her boyfriend, she was able to fight back. I wish this relationship will last, so my sister can finally be happy.
This is about a story at my youngest sister's wedding. My husband and I were supposed to go with my parents, but my father refused to go as he did not approve of his youngest daughter getting married. Of course, my mother and I said to him, "What do you mean? The wedding is today." "Yeah, Dad. You don't want to be late, do you? It will be an embarrassment if her parents don't show up. Go get ready." But my father was being persistent and didn't move. We had no choice, so my mother says, "You guys go ahead. We will take a cab there to make it on time." So without much choice, my husband and I head to the wedding venue. When we get there, I let my husband rest in the room while I went to look for my sister and the groom. I then heard voices from the groom and bride's rooms. I said, "I'm coming in," after knocking. I go in, not seeing my sister anywhere, but to find the groom with a random woman on his lap. A second after encountering this, my reflex was to get a photo as proof. The two of them froze as they heard me accidentally hold the shutter button for too long. Thanks to them panicking, I was able to take multiple shots of them together. I quickly shut the door behind me, but I was completely in panic mode. I have to tell my sister. No, but she will faint out of shock. I have to tell my parents. No, it will become a fighting scene. Should I pretend I didn't see anything? But if I do that, those two will take advantage of my sister. I can't let that happen. In spite of all this, I decide I will firstly go speak to my husband. As I'm heading down the hall to the room he's in, I hear my name being called from the room from earlier on.
Stop, sister!
Is that me? The voice calling me sounds like my brother-in-law. I thought I was just hearing things, but I was sure I heard him calling me. Is he trying to stop me from telling people? I cannot do that. All these thoughts ran through my mind as I head back down the hall to where he is. Then from inside the room I hear,
Sister, please, help me!
"What? Help you?" I opened the door without fully understanding, and as I saw that was in front of me, I was dumbfounded. The two were still on top of each other, and my brother-in-law was saying,
It hurts! It hurts!
while crying, and the girl says, "It won't come out! Help!" I don't quite understand what was going on, but it seems like they were experiencing vaginismus. I've only seen this in movies, and I have never seen it happen in front of me while people were doing it. On top of that, it was on my sister's wedding day, and the people going through it was my brother-in-law and his mistress. It seems like they got the spasm when they were shocked that I entered the room. I decided to tell my husband as it was necessary for them to go to the hospital even with all this awkwardness. Of course, my husband was dumbfounded. He was snacking on something that was out in the room that he was waiting and dropped whatever it was that he was eating. My husband and I go to check on them, but they were still stuck together, so I went to call the staff, who then called the ambulance. They got wrapped in a blanket and rushed to the hospital. Of course, everyone wanted to know why there was an ambulance at the venue, and people came up to us to ask us questions.
Did someone faint? What happened?
While thinking of how to answer this, my sister and mother, who were convincing my father to come pull up in a taxi, the groom is not here. He won't answer my sister or my mother calls. It's not like the staff can say what happened, as it is none of their business, so they all gave me a look. I didn't know what to do. I knew we couldn't be a disturbance to the guests nor the staff. It was all the groom's fault. I knew that by me saying this, the wedding will be called off, but the reality was that the groom was not here. And the girl he cheated on with was in the hospital. I made up my mind thinking that there is no other choice. Firstly, I spoke about what I saw to my family. Of course, their reaction was,
You're lying! That's impossible! Today is the wedding day!
My father, who loved my daughter to bits, turned red and was screaming. Is that really the truth? I showed the proof photo and they became speechless. My sister was absolutely destroyed. I told the groom's parents the exact same thing. At first, as my parents did not believe me, after showing them the proof photo, they got on their knees to apologize.
I'm so sorry for my son.
We profusely apologize. It was my sister whose wedding was ruined, not mine. I told them please go apologize to her as well as my father, who finally was willing to marry off his youngest daughter. I thought I would just leave the rest up to them, but my brother-in-law's little brother and his young relatives put their arms on my shoulders forcefully and started to mess around.
Wait a minute! Why the hell are you going around telling people the groom is cheating? Get on your knees and apologize to me, you stupid bitch!
Huh? What the hell? The stupid one is your brother. Cheating at the venue location on my dear little sister. Why do I have to get insulted for the stupid guy who got rushed to the hospital while still inside of another woman? I was absolutely fuming. I go to the place where all the guests were waiting and speak into the mic. I apologize to everyone who took time out of their busy schedule to come here today. Unfortunately, the wedding has been called off. Of course, the crowd started to mumble. What does this mean? Regardless, I continued to speak. Before the ceremony, the groom was cheating on the bride with another woman in the groom and bride's waiting room. The ambulance you saw earlier on had the two of them in it.
What the hell are you saying?
Here is a proof photo. For those who cannot believe it, please feel free to look at it on my phone. After seeing the photo, everyone was astonished. It's true! This person is saying the truth! After that, I showed the groom's brother and their stupid relatives the photo. Do you see it now? You said all that to me earlier on, but the real victim here is my sister. Be prepared, as I will be suing for a compensation fee. They were all absolutely shocked. After that, of course the wedding was called off. The groom and the girl that he cheated with was treated at the hospital. The groom's parents were absolutely fuming with their son for ruining the whole wedding and went to the hospital to beat him up. I only found out later on, but it seems like the girl he was cheating on with was his ex-girlfriend. The ex heard that he was getting married and was trying to get back with him, and the groom couldn't resist and let the mood take over. I had a feeling, but it doesn't change the fact that he was just stupid. After that, my sister hired a lawyer and got back a good 70% of the wedding, and I'm taking 10-digit figures. The groom's side was also demanded for a compensation fee, which was about half of the wedding amount I just mentioned. They had to sell their house, and even then it was not enough. The father retired early and was finally able to gather the money with the severance pay. Since the groom's colleagues were at the wedding and they saw the photos, the groom decided to quit the company. But since it was such an impactful event, relating companies got the word and everyone was aware of it. He repeatedly got a new job and quit many times. Even though the wedding was called off, my sister could not get out of her room due to the reason for it being called off as well. My parents and I invited her places so she would get out the house and feel better, which she eventually did. The groom's parents found out that the brother had insulted me and they scolded him. "If you hadn't said such things to her, it would not have ended so badly. I don't ever want to see the two of you again, ever!" And cut them off out of their lives. I am sure my sister will have her chance for happiness again, but I wish the stupid groom and his brother a life of unhappiness.
My name is Tammy Smith. I'm 24 and single. One day, I went out to lunch with Naomi McCormick, my friend from college. Naomi got married 2 years ago and is now a housewife. She doesn't have children. I attended her wedding and found out her husband was working for a large company and seemed very faithful. Naomi had always said, "I'm gonna find myself in a Lee and live as a housewife." So she gave her all to marriage hunting rather than job hunting. As a result, she got married after graduating college, while everyone else started working for the company they were accepted into. Since then, she'd send texts with pictures saying, "It was my birthday today, and my baby gave me a watch from Bulgaria." Whenever there was something, so I was happy things were going well for her. But one day, Naomi told me she wanted to talk about something, so we met up for the first time in forever. I got there first. Naomi is never on time and is always late. "Tammy, it's been a while." She was 20 minutes late, but it's always been a bad habit of hers to not apologize. Besides, even though she said she wanted to talk about something, she seems very happy for some reason. "Thanks for coming. Oh, it's on me today, so eat as much as you'd like." Wow, she's generous. She always used to bum off everyone. She spent a lot on marriage hunting. Even then, I didn't want my friend to pay for me, so I ordered a lunch set to pay for on my own. Naomi, on the other hand, ordered expensive dishes, one after another, saying, "Come on, don't hesitate." I'm surprised at how much she's spending, but then she starts talking. You won't believe what she's about to tell me. I'm gonna be honest with you. I got caught cheating 2 days ago, and my baby got mad. We got into an argument, and he won't shut up, so I told him I'm divorcing him. And then he told me there'll be alimony. Yeah, alimony is a must when you're getting divorced due to cheating. I know, and I was surprised when he told me the alimony is gonna be $100,000. Can you believe it? $100,000? That's a lot. I know, right? Isn't it amazing? Oh, I'm so glad I'm a woman. I start feeling something odd about her story. When I get the $100,000 from my baby, I'm thinking of marrying my boyfriend. My baby sure has money, but he's boring. But my boyfriend is so much fun to be with, even though he has no money. Anyway, my main point is I plan on having a wedding with my boyfriend, and I want you to come. Will you? Sorry, hold on a minute. I'm not getting the picture well, but you're the one who cheated on your husband, right? Yeah, I cheated on him and got caught. If you cheated on him, you're the one who's gonna pay the alimony. Your boyfriend will also have to pay alimony to your husband. If you get divorced, you're not gonna get any living expenses. Huh? What are you on about? What? That's my question to ask. What? I don't get it. Do women also have to pay the alimony? Of course. Didn't you know? That's not right, though. I'm a housewife and I'm not getting paid. So how am I supposed to pay the alimony? I'm going to at least receive living expenses, right? Men are working, so they'll be able to live alone even if they get divorced. But it's not right to ask for alimony from a housewife. It's unfair. He vowed to make me happy until I die, so he has to keep his promise. Then you should have worked rather than become a housewife. That way it'll be fair, right? Besides, you shouldn't have cheated on your husband in the first place. You cheated on him and betrayed him, so you should be the one paying the alimony. What? But let's be real. I know I was wrong to cheat on him, but I have my reasons. My baby really is boring, you know? I can't stand living with him for the rest of my life. In the end, I think the fault is at those who cheated on rather than the one cheating. You've always been a two-timer from college, and had always said this. You really haven't changed. Sure, you might have been able to get away with that in college, but that's not the case with marriage. That's not true. No matter what, it's the woman that gets the alimony and not the men. Tammy, I know you're jealous that I have men eyeing me up even though I'm married, but don't tell me nonsense. I don't usually get angry, but I'm almost there. Naomi, mad, stomped out of the restaurant without paying for her expensive meals. 2 days later, I get a call from Naomi, who'd talked to her husband. As expected, she was asked for a settlement. Naomi had also spent around $8,000, which her husband had saved to buy a home, on her lover. She was asked to pay that back and also pay $2,000 for alimony, summing up to $10,000 in alimony. He asked for a settlement like you said. Tammy, help me. I told you so. Hey, I really need your help. How am I supposed to pay $10,000? I looked at the average for alimony and it said the maximum is $3,000. Don't you think $10,000 is a bit too much? The amount you used with your boyfriend was $8,000, so $2,000 for alimony is about right. Yeah, but I used the $8,000 out of our joint savings, so the half is mine. $4,000 should be enough, right? How could he ask me to pay the whole $8,000 back? The one who cheated has all the fault, so you have to pay everything back, even if it's your joint savings. You know what? You're mean. What? You've always told me since college that you knew this was going to happen to me one day? Then you should have told me not to cheat. You're my friend, aren't you? I told you so many times, but you didn't listen. Aren't friends supposed to risk everything to stop something like that from happening? Who was it that laughed and said, I can't help falling in love, can I? You wouldn't have listened to me in that state. You could have given me some advice and said something like, I shouldn't cheat, right? Would anything have changed if I had given you advice? If I knew it'd be dangerous to cheat on people, this wouldn't have happened. What makes you think it's right to blame this on others? I'm not blaming it on you. You told me all this happened because I didn't warn you enough. Oh, Jesus! Sorry! That's not what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about the alimony. Oh, why don't you ask your boyfriend to pay for it? He was asked for a settlement too. Besides, I told you before, but he doesn't have any money. So? You have money, don't you? Huh? What? Please? What? That's crazy. What is? It's crazy you try to bum off me. I'm scared. I'm not. I'm only gonna borrow some money. I'll pay back, little by little, once things have settled. No way. Why not? Why not? Why don't you try to take responsibility yourself and deal with the mess you've made? If you can't pick up the pieces after yourself, you shouldn't have cheated on him. I'm only asking you because there's no other choice. I don't care. Why don't you ask for a consumer loan or something? No way. I'd be scared to have debt collectors coming. You scare me more than they do. Hey, Tammy, can I see you soon? Hey, Tammy, are you listening? Sorry, I can't. There's nothing I can do. Do your best with your boyfriend. Hey! And don't call me again. I blocked Naomi's number on my phone and barely got away with her bumming off me. A month later, I heard a rumor that she'd gotten divorced. She had to pay a big amount of alimony, and it was decided that after many arguments, her boyfriend and she had to go halves with the $800,000 they'd used. But this money turned off even the most devoted love ever, and they broke up with hate. Naomi, of course, couldn't pay back the money, but was cut off by her parents and couldn't move back home with them. Naomi's father and ex-husband had connections at work, and her father was completely mad with her. As Naomi didn't work, she couldn't get any loan from the bank and ended up getting a consumer loan. The interest grew rapidly, and she couldn't pay it back even with her new job. She had loan collectors after her, so she called all her friends and people she knew. They all neglected her, and she became alone. There was no one on her side now. Soon, Naomi disappeared. I hate to imagine this, but it's rumored that she was sold off to pay back her loans. In the end, she lost her husband, family, friends, and even herself by cheating. Just as she once said, maybe it can't be helped if you fall in love. But she just didn't have enough courage or knowledge.
I got recommended to try out matchmaking. You're getting to the age where you should start to think about marriage, right? What do you think about matchmaking? Matchmaking. Why don't you give it a try? If it doesn't go well, it's not like you have to keep seeing them. That's true. That's how I started my matchmaking journey. It was casual, no friends or family involved. I agreed to it since I was getting close to my 30s and I was starting to think about marriage. The person was around 40 and a doctor. He was a tall and handsome man. It made me wonder why such a good man is still single.
Nice to meet you. My name is Mana.
Nice to meet you too. My name is Tsukami. We agreed to go somewhere a little more relaxed so we can talk and get to know each other, so we went to a casual restaurant. Man A had a specific interpretation of the conversations, but I'm sure he is smart and has a good education as he is a doctor. I could see why he thinks the way he does, and his mind must be built differently to an average person. We decided to order a couple's course. It had two of the same appetizers, soup and dessert. We were able to choose two types of pastas and shared a small pizza. We decided to get a tomato-based pizza, and for the pasta, I decided to avoid the tomato-based one and asked if he preferred the Genovese or cream sauce. He said, "What about the tomato-based one like pescatore?" And on top of that, he said he will also get the tomato-based pasta. I was like, huh? I see, but I do want to try different flavors. Then he says,
Don't say huh. Don't say just say yes.
huh?
You should always just say yes. Go on, say yes.
Huh? I didn't mean to, but I was like, huh? So he says it again.
You mean yes?
He continued to scold me until I said yes. After I said it, he smiled and looked pleased while nodding.
That is correct.
I was starting to panic, like, what is this? What is this? I just wanted to get through the meal and go. After we left the restaurant, Man A thought we were already dating or something. He didn't for 1 second consider what I wanted to do after this and walked on as if he expected me to follow him. My instincts told me to get away from him, so I said, "Sorry, my work needs me," and lied to go home. I immediately told the person who introduced us about what had happened and asked to please not give my contact information to him. After I got home, I said to myself, what was that? But I calmed down once I remembered that I declined him and asked for my information not to be shared with him. But after a few days, I got a phone call at my workplace. I work at a small company, so I remember telling him my company name when the conversation was so good. But now I deeply regret doing so. So Man A said,
This is Man A calling from Scotto Hospital.
The admin lady rushed over and said that the doctor is calling directly and asked if everything was okay. She was very concerned, so I couldn't refuse the call. Man A didn't consider if I had any plans at all and said,
I'm free next week. Let's go to a movie and get something to eat afterwards.
I remember what happened at the restaurant and got scared. I told him I'm not free that day. I ended up meeting him with the person who introduced us on a different day and turned him down properly. I said, "I'm sorry, but I can't live under you. I am a selfish person. I am Gorman, so I want to eat what I want to eat." He then smiles at me and says,
If you keep saying yes, your heart will soon start to say yes as well.
I didn't understand him at all. I was scared that he even said that in the first place. Our friend next to us could keep quiet and said, "That's like brainwashing." And I totally agree with her. Then Man A says,
I sensed from the beginning that you will be alright. That you can do it if you're just true to yourself.
I was starting to lose it and almost started to cry. I started repeating, "I really can't do it."
I see. You're just scared. If you believe in me, I can make you happy. I can bring you happiness.
The person who introduced us realized how odd he was and says,
Let's just agree that it was just not meant to be this time.
and tried to end the conversation.
Don't be so scared. Just leave it all up to me.
He just won't get it and ended up going on and on about the same thing. And repeating the conversation for so long, it started to spiral. Believe in myself? I started saying things like, "I believe in my feelings." He then says,
I think it's just a matter of time. If you just say yes, you'll naturally just follow me.
"What is this person? I'm scared," and started to shake. Anyways, the person who introduced us let me go home, first and said she persuaded him, so I felt a little better. One day after work, I go home to mayonnaise standing outside my house. I was too scared to even speak, but as gently as I could, I said, "Why are you here? Didn't I decline her matchmaking?" While smiling, he says,
It's easy to find where my girlfriend lives. Let's go inside.
"No, we won't."
You don't have to be so hard on yourself. I'll teach you the way. All you have to do is say yes to what I tell you.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to.
I don't like girls that aren't obedient.
He says as he approaches me. He was seriously mentally ill. I deeply regretted as to why I had even accepted the matchmaking in the first place. He found out where I work, where I live, but I can't prove he's a stalker since I did agree to the matchmaking. The thought of this made me hopeless. I rushed to call the person who introduced us. Help! He's at my house!
What? I will be there immediately. Where are you?
I'm at X station. I'm hiding.
Okay, I'll be right there.
She came to get me and let me escape to her house.
I'm truly sorry. I didn't know he was like that.
Yeah. After that, I reported it to the police and he was arrested for stalking me. But even after he was arrested, he was apparently saying, "She just needs to be taught. That's why I'm teaching her kindly." An officer told him.
The woman you're stalking is saying that she's not your girlfriend.
He then snapped at him.
What the hell are you saying? Bring her here now! She should know that what I say is correct!
He got so worked up that he hit the officer and his offense got worse. After that, the hospital that he worked at was informed of his arrest and he was fired. The information was spread amongst the medical association was unable to be rehired anywhere, forcing him to quit being a doctor. He suffered the consequences of his actions, but boy, was it scary. I was just relieved that Man A was no longer around. The person who introduced us said,
I won't introduce you to such a person anymore. Let's look for the next person.
But I never want to do matchmaking ever again.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.